Okay.
Thank you.
All
Just let's have
right.
backups.
All right, great. Well, here I go.
Awesome. Excellent.
Oh, wait, let me let this catch up. Okay. Sorry, you know how there's lag.
Yeah, I do. I do. This is the first time we've ever been silent, like as this is happening. I feel like we're all like waiting and like we got to do it right this time. Which is weird.
Okay, yes, please go. I just did
Awesome.
it.
We're here. We're great. We're here. We're fine. It's fine. We're all fine. Unmute, folks. Unmute. This for everybody. You unmute too. Talk shit at us this entire time. We deserve it. Awesome. Yep. To those tuning in, hello, welcome to the third of our workshops of the Ruining Lorca Trilogy, sponsored by Texas Performing Arts and Fusebox Festival. Thank you for this amazing residency that's let us do this. We have we have our writers here, part of this team that's been creating this since like September-ish. Sounds reasonable. We have Krysta Gonzales. Krysta, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Well, I want to say how y'all are doing, but we need to jump right into Victor's amazing play. I'll say I'm Krysta Gonzales. I'm writing, like Keith says, and it begins where Lorca's blood wedding ends, and I'm very excited to be ruined by Victor's play this afternoon.
We've all been ruined by Victor in one way or another. We're looking forward to it. And we've got Jesus Valles.
Yes, yes, you do. Sure enough. Hello, I'm Jesus. I am writing Yermo, which is a riff on Lorca's Yerma. I just had my first White Claw of the day, so I'm starting off right. I'm going to take my prep in a little bit.
I already took mine, but that's okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, really? Okay. Well,
yes.
And what else am I doing? Yeah, I'm also excited to watch Victor ruin people. That's like my whole gig from the sidelines.
Yep. Since the high school days. And finally, our playwright of the day, Victor Cazares.
Just hold on. I'm going to go get my antiretroviral.
Yay!
Hi, everybody. My name is Victor. I'm ostensibly working on La Callcenter de Bernarda Alba, and I take off where Lorca didn't. I imagine a worse fate for Adela, which is to survive her suicide attempt. Are we talking about the play yet, or are we just like saying hi? How I am?
We're saying hi. Let's go ahead and bring on the actors. We're going to bring on the actors. And then we're going to talk about the play. So actors, go ahead and turn on your cameras. Hello. And we'll have the actors introduce themselves and who they're playing. We'll start with Claudia.
Hello, I'm Claudia Costa, and I'm playing La Bernie.
And Maddie.
Hello, my name is Maddie. I am playing Adela.
And Barbara.
Hi, I am Barbara Mojica, and I am playing Angie.
And Martinique.
Hi, I'm Martinique Duchesne, and I'm playing Choris.
And Alton.
Hey, I'm Alton. I'm playing Lamond.
And Arif.
Hey, my name is Arif. I'm playing Shanes.
Nice, awesome. And now is the time, Victor, when you can talk to us about this play.
Hi, thank you everybody for being here and for saying yes to entering this call center of hell. I throughout this process, I wanted to think through about La Callcenter de Bernarda Alba as what it was, right? It's like an allegory for fascism, and like here where like the house is what traps people, and Bernarda is the authoritarian figure that rules over everybody's lives, and just thinking about that time period when it's written, Franco was coming to power, fascism felt new, And for me, I wanted to, like, I couldn't do that. And I just wanted to look at ways in which we are complicit, maybe also in fascism, and like the different ways that fascism are taking. And like, at least that was the premise. I don't know if I did that. And the play is set in El Paso, Texas, basically right now, just as the pandemic is like, everything is reopening. And it is it's a weird play. I don't know what to say other than like, it's about collecting debt ostensibly, and the people that do that, and it's like medical debt from dead people. And in terms of the way it's written, I think like people just, there are different, I wanted to sit on the border, and I wanted to write without thinking of, is this going to make sense to people? So it's written in a very it's written hyper locally to El Paso, and like specifically with like the code switching in the Mexican American characters that happens. But there's also code switching throughout of just like, sometimes it's based on class, sometimes it's based on who your audience is. So like there's like heavy, hard pivots to a YouTube voice or a social media voice. And it's all sort of, it came out of me in a stream of consciousness way. So like there aren't really scene breaks, right? Everything is sort of gets evoked or invited into the room, or it's rendered in real time, like just the moment you need it. So in terms of like, so I was like big, bold choices, just like very determined about who you're speaking to. And like, I think class is a motivator, and rank and family ties are the organizational principle of the play. So far, it's my first draft. Yeah, what else can I say?
Are there other questions? Well, so with that in mind, what we're going to do is for this reading, we're going to have actors cameras on the whole time, and if at any point you want to stop and ask a question, or if at any point Krysta or Jesus, you want to stop and ask a question, go ahead and say, like, you know, I have a question, and we will take it on and we'll figure it out, and then we'll start up again. Excellent. All right. So to start this thing off, Border Debts, or the Callcenter of Bernarda Alba. It's just after the reopening of everything in Texas during the pandemic. So right now, basically, in terms of places and style, everything is sort of rendered the moment you need it, arrive at it like in a video game. Everything is conjured in the moment, dialed. In a void, we hear,
I got you a job at the call center, mija.
slowly the scene builds. First, the breathing of a machine, the drip of an IV, the beeping of life monitoring machines. And then we're rudely in a hospital room at the top of the show with someone on fucking life support and a fucking Mexican mother eating sabritones with the shyest, quietest of bites. But all these quiet little bites do is highlight the audacity and the ickiness of eating sabritones in a hospital when your daughter is in a coma after she tried killing herself at the end of La Casa de Bernarda Alba. Adela lived, and she's not ready to have survived. Please let her stay in this coma a little bit longer.
Obviously, you don't have to start now. You know what? I hope that you can hear me right now, because I can just hear you telling my little friends. My mom is such a crazy bitch and so cabrona that she expected me to work all the fucking call center even though I was in a coma. Always haciéndome quedar mal. It's not even what I said. I said, when you get out and you're healthy and toda esa chingadera, you have a job waiting for you at the call center. My boss was very nice about this, so no me hagas quedar mal. I can't owe her any more favors. I don't know why I even care what you tell your friends. They have bigger problems right now. One of them, Anita, died of el COVID. Le dio bien duro a la pobrecita. That's why you don't hear her voice anymore, because she's dead. Ay, Dios la tenga en su santa gloria, bendito sea. Válgame Dios. Imagine if I'm the one who has to collect all her medical debt. What's that frasecita you always used to use? Awkward, awkward. No me sale. You used to say it more obnoxiously. I hated you when you were a teen. Another category of people that doesn't exist anymore. To be fair to myself, you were terrible and hated me too. So don't make this into a one-sided conflict. But you know what? I don't have to worry for a while because she died in May. And it's now November. It's too soon for her unpaid medical debt to go into collections yet. If she had died a month earlier, I would have gotten a nice bonus for Christmas. Las Navidades. You have money, you spend it, and then you start all over again. And that hospital Anita was at, not cheap at all. No, muy acá, ¿verdad? Pero sí muy bueno. Ya sabes cómo son los papás. She would have gotten cheaper care in Juarez. And if you're going to die in a hospital anyway, why not get a bargain? I mean, she was practically dead when they finally took her to the hospital. Breathing con las maquinas, her blood pumped through, no sé qué. And then they kept her like that. I looked, even though she
Adela's life machine makes itself heard.
I'm sorry. I forget.
Two faggots appear. Shames, a recent hire at the call center, and Lamond. His mom meant to name him Le Monde like the newspaper, but at the El Paso hospital he was born in, nobody spoke French. And by the time his mom found out, there were more pressing things to do, like nursing him. He was a biter, a mean little nipple fucker. His mom never let him forget.
Did you see her? Shames, did you see that?
Shames was pretending to be in a call.
See what?
La Bernie over there. She just got another one.
Another what?
Another Pokemon.
Oh.
You March. She got another dead person's family to pay their medical debt. I swear, she's the Michael Phelps of debt collectors. Yeah, I'm gonna sit you next to her. If you're gonna last a week here, you're gonna have to learn from La Bernie Phelps over there.
I'm fine not lasting here. I just want to get...
Yeah, she's like the opposite of a medium, like except she's not talking to the dead. She's talking to the living about the dead. Hey, check this out. I see dead people. You get it? Dead people. Like she sees dead people and they're dead. Oh, Shames. Are you a snob? Do you not think I'm funny?
Excuse me? What? No, I didn't get it. I mean, I got it, but M. Night Shyamalan is a trigger, so I just shut down and go into safe mode and just...
A trigger? Why a trigger? It's not like people associated you with him because you're both South Asian and people pointing at you and like, hey, there's that kid. I see dead people. Hey, Shyamalan. No, he only worked with white people. So what is the real issue here?
There's no issue.
This business is about trust shame. This room is about honesty among thieves.
Honor.
Honor, honesty, same bullshit, different day. Why are you here, Shames? You're not like the others. You know the others, not an M. Night Shyamalan movie, but might as well be. And I don't mean you're not like the others because you're not Mexican. Yeah, hell, I'm not Mexican. But nobody confuses me for a Mexican. I am the only Filipino in the world that doesn't get confused for a Latino. Well, me and Imelda. See, we have that in common. You, on the other hand, I'm sure you get buenos dias, senor, every day. Howdy, sir, for you, fucking Texas.
Opens his Coke ring.
You want some? Oh, the cameras, they don't work. They're for show.
You're my boss.
Yeah, and I want you to trust me. Do you watch Mad Men?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, well, so I'm just like Don, and you, my Pete. I can always spot a Pete. I'm earning your trust this way. I want you to trust me. Why does that old man say in the Mad Men thing, like, you don't know from where loyalty is born? And then he says born, like in the British way, like born. Are you from here?
Yeah.
Like born, raised, everything?
Yeah.
And you don't think it's weird that someone like you, who is gay and in El Paso, not wearing Michael Kors anywhere on his body, not even his sunglasses case, is wearing sensible work shoes that aren't pointy like a fucking axe pick, and most importantly is wearing, smells him, not Gucci, not Versace, not Pucci, not... Mom, the ice cream truck, it's gonna leave.
Mom,
Oh.
Mom, the ice cream truck, it's going to leave.
Que se vaya?
But Mom, it's going to.
Ay, don't rush me while I'm going through my purse, Adela. That's how you get people to give you more money than they have to. And I'll never give you more than I have to. Here, 75 cents, 3 dimes, 6 nickels, and 15 pennies.
La Bernie gives her the money. Adela starts to rush off. La Bernie grabs her hand hard.
¿Qué se dice?
Gracias.
Las cosas se agradecen siempre.
Adela leaves. La Bernie looks out the window, waits. Adela comes back.
It left.
¿Ya ves? Por malagradecida. Ay, don't cry, okay? Crying's going to get less. Pues give me back that 75 cents. Trae pa acá.
Adela crying this time in the bathroom of the call center. It's her first day. Shames walks in.
You can't come in here. It's the girls' restroom.
Listen, if my job doesn't let me follow bankruptcy laws when going after dead people's money, I'm gonna use the bathroom I need. And I need this one right now.
Shames shuffles into a stall. He pisses. Adela washes her face.
You're La Bernie's daughter, right?
Does everyone know?
Well, I don't know if everyone knows, but everyone knows your mom. She's a legend here.
Well, I don't want to be known as her daughter, La Bernie's daughter.
Well, what do you want to be known as? Coma girl?
Excuse me?
Sorry. I'm having a bad day. I'm Shames, and I'm going to wash my hands first.
You know, whenever we flush a toilet, we release little shit particles into the air that we breathe and swallow.
Bundles of joy. Bundles of joy. Your family is, okay, like they say online, I'll bite. What's wrong? Why are you crying?
I'm Adela.
And that's why you're crying?
No, that's what I want to be known as.
Oh, right. I'm Shames, and I'm on my way out. Your little factoid about shit particles flushings is really messing with my head. And I'm on my way out, both literally of this bathroom and this call center, so don't get attached to me. Wash yourself up and then come by my cubicle during your break.
It's my first day. I don't know where your cubicle is. Station? I thought cubicles had walls.
Let me live my fantasy. It's a cubicle. And it's right next to your mother's.
Oh.
Oh, okay. I really need to get out of here. Fucking shit particles. You shouldn't have brought them up. I'm nervous enough about Americans not rinsing their asses with water. You know what? I'm leaving. Talk to me if you want to.
Shames leaves. Adela rinses her face again. Nobody is well. Lamont pops his head in.
Hey, new girl / La Bernie's daughter. Like liver really. Yeah. Okay. I brought some pan dulce for all of you, so come eat some.
Flush. La Bernie comes out of a stall.
Don't you even think about it? The last thing you need is refined wheat and sugar. Imagine all those months spent in the hospital, all that money you get out of a normal coma only to fall into a diabetic coma.
I don't have diabetes, Mom.
No, but I'm just saying. Here, have some ibuprofen.
Mom.
Take it. Carries ibuprofen in her purse, and she carries her purse everywhere. Nobody here as well. Adela takes the ibuprofen.
That's Lamont. I owe him your job, so be nice to him. Take the pan dulce and don't eat it. Stop crying, por el amor de Dios.
Mom pops sit back in.
So I moved the pan dulce to the break room. So Shames has never had some. So I'm gonna record him trying it for the first time for my YouTube channel about El Paso. I don't think he's ready for the Maranito.
We see the intro video to his YouTube channel. The first half is mostly stock footage of El Paso.
What's the deal with Chico's Tacos? Why is there a star on the mountain and why does it always smell like refried beans? Hi, I'm Lamond, and welcome to Ketanza, a show where I, Lamond Macapagal del Rosario, a Filipino-American king living in the American dream, explain the Mexican things I experienced in hell to the El Paso. Woo woo. Ya tu sabes. Today's episode, Shame Sarkar. It's pronounced Shortkar in Bengali. So AKA Shaka Shaka Pella on all the socials for the first time will be trying pan dulce. He's lived in El Paso for all his life and he's never had pan dulce. So I set up a secret camera to capture it.
Back to live in the present.
I've never had pan dulce.
Ay, mijo. How have you never had pan dulce? You're from here, no? And I don't mean that in a racist way. So don't go report me to HR.
We have HR?
Yeah, but it's not for you. You're basically a contractors.
Did your family like avoid Mexicans?
No, it's just, this is uncomfortable.
Give him the pan dulce. What are you going to have him try first, Lamont?
Yeah, I was thinking the Maran.
I don't think it's that he hasn't had pan dulce.
Ay, Adela, you barely know him and you're already defending him?
Over time transition with the ice cream truck. Little dog whimpering sounds.
Mom, he didn't mean to. It was an accident.
Se vale verga si fue accidente o no. En mi casa no se mea.
La Bernie cane kicks it.
Mom!
This is your fault. I'm hitting because of you, pa que aprenda. Él y tú. If you trained him better,
Flight time warp.
he'd still be here right now.
Time warp.
He'll be fine. Maybe this time he'll learn. Now clean that piss. Válgame Dios, también se cagó el pinche cabroncito, güey. Ya valió verga todo. Why doesn't his shit smell? Why doesn't his shit smell? Why am I only smelling? Los frijoles. They're burning. Se les acaba el agua por estar chingando con tu maldito perro.
This is from Adela's social media channel.
It's true. Mexicans eat beans all the time. There's always a pot of beans on the stove. And when you cook them, you have to constantly be watching them so they don't run out of water. If they run out of water, they burn, and the smell of burnt beans is like the decomposing fart of your nasty uncle that touches himself in front of you and nobody does anything about it. But that's and muy heavy, and we're here for fun. Ever since I got out of the coma, food tastes different. And beans to me now taste like plums. That's it for Border Coma, girl. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that button. Hit it like my mom hits my dog.
Whoa, let's cut here. That was a good take. Why did you start talking about your mom hitting your dog? That's not cool. Nobody wants to imagine animal violence.
But talking about my uncle.
You made it into a joke. Well, not a joke because jokes aren't funny, but you de-escalated it by using cute bubble social voice. Oh, too much info, he. But you can't do that after hitting a dog.
Oh.
I'm not mad at you.
Okay. I really want this. Do you really think people will like it? The others will watch?
As long as we keep it light and inspirational and inspiring and with that really good eye makeup I just gave you.
It's hard for me to stay light.
Well, we have to keep it fun and light. Otherwise, your channel is going to be about sad coma girl has woken up only to find that her quality of life is severely diminished. Instead, what we're supposed to be making this channel is Mexican border girl was in a coma, but now she's back home. Now she's back. Come see her try gelato for the first time since the coma. Everything is new. Hashtag inspiring. Hashtag blessed. Hashtag positivity.
How do you know so much?
Told you, past life.
Oh, I thought you were Muslim.
I'm not Muslim. My parents are.
Past life, like a metaphor.
I meant it literally, but I forgot you met my parents. Fuck this. I am tired of this.
Tired of me?
Not everything is about you, Adela. I'm talking about me. I'm tired of mixing truth and lies and exploiting assumptions. What's your last name, Adela?
Alba?
Adela Alba. And what does that mean?
Dela means I'm not sure. But Alba means dawn, the first rays of light.
What else does it mean?
I don't know. That I'm Hispanic, Mexican.
When people read your last name, what can they learn about you?
Nothing.
What's my last name? Here. Read it off my driver's license. Fuck. Right. Here. Off my phone. Say it.
I don't want to mispronounce.
Give it your best shot.
Sarkar?
Shorkar.
Shorkar.
Close enough. This is not the point. It means government in Bengali, but that's a lot of information. There are a number of prominent high caste Hindus with this surname, so my last name gets associated as being Hindu, even though I'm not. My family is Muslim. So when someone from the RSS...
I'm sorry, but what do you mean by caste? I thought I'm not stupid, but I thought Gandhi got rid of the caste system and that's what inspired Martin Luther King.
Right, because Martin Luther King ended segregation. And to bring it a little closer to your barrio, Hugo Cesar Chavez gave all the farm workers and illegals a living wage. Why is there no context for me in this country? Why am I always having to explain everything about my fucking life? All of you, all of you ask me, why have you never had pan dulce? Fuck that. Why haven't you ever had something that wasn't pan dulce? Why don't you know what caste is? Why don't you know that your little border here isn't the only militarized one? That your little border here isn't the only one worth risking your life crossing? You act as if this is the only border that has unmade people and families and histories.
He hits himself once, twice, really hard. Screams. Dial tone. The automated phone system of the call center dials a number. It goes through. 1 beep, 2 beeps, 3 beeps, 4 beeps. Click. Hello? Laberni puts on her headset. Dramatically, royally, ritually. She's about to steal from the dead.
Hello?
Hi, who is this?
Hi, good morning. I'm looking for Mrs. Gonzales.
No speak English, que lo siento.
Ay, no hay problema. Estoy para servirle. Hablo español. Está la señora González.
She's dead. Can you leave us alone?
Oh, mi más sentido pésame.
Cut the bullshit, okay? Don't even give a fuck.
Señor, al contrario, me importa mucho el sufrimiento por el cual está pasando su
Just
familia.
cut the bullshit already.
Lo que usted quiere, señor.
Click.
Remember, if they don't hang up, it's because they're vulnerable. They think you have something they need to hear. If they don't hang up, you possess them.
But he hung up.
Just watch. If he picks up again, he's mine.
The seance begins again. Dial tone. Number dialed. Beeps. Click. Hello?
I'm so sorry, sir. We got on the wrong foot. I was just trying to do what's right by Mrs. Gonzalez when you said to speak Spanish to you. Was Mrs. Gonzalez your mom?
Yes.
And who do I have the pleasure of serving today?
What?
Your name, sir, so I can better help you.
Manuel? Manuel Quiroga.
Mr. Quiroga, my name is Berenice Quesada.
Okay, Miss Quesada, you have me on the phone. What do you want?
First off, Mr. Quiroga, let me just tell you that it's so nice to talk to someone that can say my last name correctly. You don't know how many times people call me Miss Quesadilla. And don't get me wrong, I love my quesadillas, but it's just not a good name.
No, post, you're right about that. It's a stupid name. Miss Quesadilla, dumb.
Mr. Quiroga, our hospitals are hurting right now. And all the care that they're giving and continue to give is a financial strain.
Here we go again. No.
No, Mr. Quiroga, this is different. This is about doing something.
Good like what? She's dead.
Are you a Catholic?
Yeah, so what? How dare you?
You can think of it as a donation. And it doesn't have to be the whole amount. And it's not for profit. The money is just going back to the hospital so they can continue treating all those people that are sick and dying and breathing in machines. Like one last good deed by Mrs. Gonzales. And she'll get extra love from our Virgencita up above. Dios la tenga en su santa gloria.
Wish I could. I don't have money, right? Like you said, a lot of people are sick right now. The economy's shit. I don't have a job. As much as I want to.
Yeah, what about Mrs. Gonzales? Did she leave anything? Did she have anything she left behind?
That's for my daughter.
Is it an estate, sir?
What's an estate?
An estate is everything the deceased left behind. Like they say, you can't take it with you. So any bank accounts, any cars, any homes with her name on it, the estate.
That's my daughter's for her college. She's gonna put in her name, but it all happened so fast. She said she didn't want to go to the hospital for a little thing because then at her age, you leave feet first.
I'm sorry, sir. But did you say your mother, Mrs. Gonzales, was going to transfer her money, her properties to her granddaughter for college?
Yeah, she's already sold the house I grew up in, so it's all just money for her college.
That's so nice. It's important us Hispanics make sure we go to college, because we work harder. And did you say Mrs. Gonzales was about to transfer all that money to your daughter before she...
Yes, because she promised it to my daughter. She was her only grandkid.
But she died before she could do it?
Yeah, she didn't even have time to write a will.
Oof. Well, Mr. Quesadilla, in one way, it's a blessing that she died before she could do it because...
Excuse me?
Because otherwise it would have been fraud. I'm seeing here on the screen in front of me that when Ms. Gonzalez died, she'd already been in the hospital for 2 months and that she'd already been billed for one that was already past due at the time of her death. And so she would have been committing fraud had she had transferred that amount of money that she owed into someone else's account. And right now we'd be having a very different conversation.
What do you mean fraud? We didn't do anything illegal.
And that's exactly why I'm calling, Mr. Quesada, to stop you from breaking the law because of her debt. If it goes unpaid, it becomes a federal crime, grand larceny. Anything $100,000 you steal, and that's jail time for you and your daughter as co-conspirators to theft. And not paying your debts is the same theft in a court of moral law. So in order for me to be able to help you and stop any criminal proceedings against you or your daughter as co-conspirators, I need to show my superiors that we're not privy to your mother trying to defraud the hospital that was giving her life prolonging care for as long as possible. Mr. Quesada, are you there?
Yes. Am I gonna be arrested?
No. We're just going to set up the payment plan. We're going to clear Ms. Gonzalez's name. I'm going to need you to tell me what her bank is and what her account number was. It's okay if you have to get it. I'll wait, or I can show up at your house, whatever's easier for you. I'm here for you.
How does your mom do it?
What?
How did your mom get this good?
Like, what's her origin story?
Yeah, sure.
She doesn't have an origin story. She's not Maleficent. She's always been this good at extraction.
But that's not good enough. Why aren't you good at it?
You know what?
Your job.
I'm still learning the ropes.
Yeah, them ropes are 5 months old.
Maybe I'm not being managed well.
Yeah, I'm a supervisor, not a manager, so if you're gonna make a dig at me...
Take your dick out of me.
What?
Take your dick out of me.
Why?
My mom's watching.
Extraction stories. At the pop of the dick coming out. Martinique, you muted?
There we go. A ver las uñas. Enséñamelas.
Mamá.
Que me enseñes, te dije.
Bernie shows them to her. She has acrylic nails on, red.
No te dije que te las quitaras, pareces puta. Dame la mano.
¿Para qué?
Dámelas o te meto unos chingazos.
Bernie hands La Choris her hands. La Choris holds them. Then she bites the acrylic nail with her finger and tears it off. La Bernie screams.
Oh, come on. Nobody's going to believe that.
Nobody believes me.
That's just a little extreme. No.
Were you sheltered?
No, not sheltered like Shames, but not I'm gonna bite off a super glued acrylic nail off my daughter's finger with my teeth because I think she looks like a whore. Like, who in their right mind is going to...
Born in a different time. Like, they still had to return their Coke bottles to the store in order to get another one.
See, my mom grew up in a dictatorship. Her dad was tortured and killed, but she also had to return their Coke bottles to the store in order to get another one, and that's why.
That's why what?
That's why I don't want your story to be true. If that's what a mother can do to their daughter, I can only imagine what strangers did to my Lolo.
I want to ask a question, but I don't want to get yelled at again for not knowing global politics.
Yeah, I don't know them either. That's the point of leaving, isn't it? So you don't have to live under that shit. No reason to bring rules from a different game into the game we're playing right now. It'll only confuse us.
Pero querías verte como puta, ¿verdad? Así que no te hagas la tonta si te trataron como una puta.
I was in the library, ma.
A mí no me vengas con esas chingaderas.
Estaba estudiando.
Pues vas a tener que dejar de estudiar porque yo no te voy a dejar, te voy a cuidar. Yo ya crié a mis hijos mal nacidos, pero crecidos.
Mamá, quiero reportarlo.
¿Para qué? Para que se entre todo el mundo. Y luego, ¿para qué? No van a hacer nada. Nada pasa. No, mija. Las cosas te pasan y ya.
Pero mamá, estamos en... Aquí hay leyes para protegernos.
¿Y crees que en México no hay leyes? Las leyes no se escriben para nosotros, los pobres. Ni la policía allá, ni la policía acá. Nos van a proteger.
Mi profesora en el colegio me dijo que ella puede ir conmigo a reportarlo, por lo menos.
Ay, Jesús, María y José, no. Pues ya estuvo. Que te lo arreglo todo la profesora esa. Y luego que venga la policía y la migra y nos deporten. Y ya. Se nos acabó el teatrito. Esa profesora no sabe nada de tu vida. O lo que tú tienes que hacer para salir. Adelante. Lo que he echado para sacarnos. Adelante. No. Hoy mismo te sales del colegio y te vienes a trabajar conmigo.
Dial tone. Automated dial. Beep. Beep. Click. Hello?
Hi. Good evening. I'm calling to speak with Mr. Arturo Jimenez. Is he home?
No.
Who do I have the pleasure?
He's dead.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. My condolences. Most heartfelt.
This is about a bill, right?
Who do I have the pleasure of speaking to?
You people can fuck yourselves, vultures.
I'm sorry, ma'am. We have obligations that don't go away just because a loved one is gone.
We have nothing. I have nothing. You know, I was having an okay day, first okay day in a while. I was sitting here on my couch, watching and eating, and it felt like he was at peace. And then the phone rang. I saw the number, and I just knew it would be a debt collector.
If you knew it was going to be a debt collector, why did you answer the phone?
No. I don't know.
You know, ma'am, you're one of the lucky ones. Your husband, I'm assuming I'm talking to Mrs. Jimenez.
Yes, why am I lucky?
Your husband didn't die owing a lot of money to the hospital. My manager here says we can make an exception for you and give you a low payment plan that can work with your pension.
No, I can't.
Mrs. Jimenez, with all due respect, as a married couple, his debts become your debts. So we either figure out a low payment plan, or the government will garnish your entire pension.
Good job, Shames, Charles. Pretty soon you'll be giving La Bernie here a run for her money. You imagine if we have to call each other to collect a debt? Oh, we know all the tricks.
Good job, Shames.
Found it from you. I just don't understand why they don't hang up. Why they can't. Why they stay on the phone.
There are two answers. One is we're calling people with landlines, people who are rooted in the past. And in the past, you answered the phone. I remember not having a phone and how exciting it was to get a call. That's why they answer. And the second reason, the reason they stay online is that debt has power. And we hold it over their dead. Adela, set the table. I fucking burned the chile. Lo tosté de más y now it's all bitter. Adela, Efrain and your sister are going to be here.
Mom, I'm here. Adela, you don't have to set a play for Efrain or the kids. It's just me tonight.
But I made a choco flan for the kids.
I can take it home to them, Mom. Don't be sad. They just don't like coming over. They're at that age.
Okay.
Mom, don't be like that. This is just not their environment anymore. And it's really just a really, really long drive. The Far East Side is just really far from the west side of El Paso.
You live in Tanutillo.
It's in the west side. I don't know why you don't move away from here, Mom. What you make?
I made you chile rojo y arroz tostado.
My favorite.
¿Te sirvo?
Yeah, but just a little bit. I ate on my way here.
You already ate?
I'm sorry, Mom. Traffic was really bad coming to the east side, and I hadn't really eaten all day, so I had to stop at Whataburger. It was a very busy day at the shelter, Mom. I was almost going to cancel, but it's Grandma's birthday. We got, I'm not exaggerating, 90 kids today. 90. Pobrecitos. I know. I don't know what they're hoping for. And you know, even though it's a lot more work right now, it's much better now with Biden than it was with Trump, because with Trump, we had to deal with all the protests and fucking Democrats breathing down our necks. And even though we're doing the same thing, at least nobody's breathing down our necks. And we just do our jobs and give me a little juice box and some crayons and pray they don't get trafficked. Oh, look, the little card that Efrain Jr. made for Mama Chori's birthday. He drew a little tres leches cake with the Mexican flag for her.
How do you know it's a tres leches cake?
Adela, he's 5. He told me it's a tres leches cake, so it's a tres leches cake. Oh, that reminds me. Adela, Efrain convinced Stanford to also pay for my flight next week. So he starts his book tour, so I'm going to need you to water the nogales at the house. Would you mind?
I don't think.
Do you need someone to take care of the kids, Angie? I can take care of the kids. I could go stay.
Thanks, Mom, but they're staying with Efrain's mom. She insisted. Have you given any of Efrain's book away at work?
Adela, go bring Mama Chorris from the bedroom. No offense, mija, but nobody at work reads. Some of them are undocumented. I don't think they want to read a book with a Border Patrol agent on the cover.
Well, they're missing out. It's really good memoir, and it's already making him famous. Stanford, Mom, that's a famous fancy school.
Ay, I know, mija. Mija, please.
I'm sorry, Mom. Efrain's mom insisted on having the kids while we're away.
No, I know, mija. I was just going to remind you that it's also your sister's birthday.
I know it's her birthday.
Then wish her a happy birthday.
I will, when the cake is out, which actually I think it's all the time I'm going to have to take out of the fridge. And we'll do the mañanitas, and then I'll leave.
Adela is wheeling up Mama Choris. Mama Choris is all bones. She refuses to be bathed. For speaking, she sucks in her teeth, overexpresses everything.
Tus María y José.
Hi, Mom.
Angustistas ni mi niña preciosa que viene a verme. Ay, angusticias.
She raises
Hi,
her arms to be
Mama
hugged.
Choris. Ay, qué linda. Tell her I can hug her because of COVID.
No la puede abrazar abuelita, que es que por el COVID.
Ay, no, pues. Hay que tener mucho cuidado.
But I brought you las mañanitas.
Angie plays Las Mañanitas on her phone. Sad dance. They bring out the cake and light the candles.
Hi, YouTube. Today on Le Monde Explains It All Mexican to You. What is up with that song that Mexicans play on your birthday that is so long that the candles all melt onto the birthday cake and then you're practically eating wax, except that when you get to eat the cake because they shove your face into it? Like, what is up with that? So for today's episode, I partnered up with my cake shop.
End of excerpt. Yes. Nice. And Jesus and Krysta, come on back as well.
Thank you, everybody.
Indeed. Start with this moments that stood out for folks. Barbara.
The biting her nails off and calling her puta. It's like, yeah, that brought memories. Yeah.
My mom has a very similar story with her mom. So I was like, wait, how did you know?
Who
like
does?
How,
Wait, Maddie, who has a story?
You.
My mom has a very similar story with her mom about just all of that, the nails and just her like pulling out like hair if it was like done a certain way. And I was just like, oh yeah, I guess all Mexican moms are the same.
That's what stood out to me. It was like the kind of brutality within the matriarchs of our families, in Latino families, like, you know, that tough, hard ass, you know what I mean? Like you can't even move an inch or you're gonna get beat, like kind of like energy. And I just think there's so many layers to that. And I really like how this is exploring all of that.
I liked how each character really, I mean, they were all very eccentric. And what was so cool about it was that everyone had like their own very particular eccentricities. Like that was, even though everything was weird, everyone was weird kind of in their own way. And I just thought that was really fun and exciting to just sort of see, because it just felt like everyone had a very authentic voice. So, yeah.
Thank you.
It's just so mean-spirited, and I just really appreciate, like, nothing could have been more El Paso than just like such a mean-spirited play. It's so rude at every turn. The description of who works at the call centers, like the shoes, the dress shoes with the point, I was like, wow, like leave the girls alone. But I think the thing that I was most horrified by, which is always what I wanted, that's the thing I always hang on to, is the La Bernie's call. The ritual of the headset. Yeah, and so the sort of explanation, and then that second call and the calculation of like, I'm gonna call it, no, this isn't over. And I just keep thinking a lot about like brutality as a language and how the matriarchs actually end up respecting whoever can be the most brutal. It's like, oh, cool. I actually won't fuck with you anymore because like you've now learned to be shitty in a different way, which is what I'm, that relationship with Angie, I'm like, oh, like Angie's a monster. Like Angie's also like fully like a demon person. But like, I just think like there's like a veterana vibe where they're like, oh, like you're shitty in a different way, but I respect it. Cool. Keep it up. Good work.
And just like that phone call was so chilling and so good. And I think it's the flip side. It's that you know, on the one hand, there's the biting off the fingernails, but there's also just like the deep hardcore manipulation is just like that's when it becomes like the fine art. It's just so it's familiar.
Adding to that, the when the dog gets hit and the mom just blames the daughters, it's because of you, you know, if you hadn't done that, and it's so twisted and real. It's so dark.
I also was I mentioned it in the chat, but the kicking the dog's not okay. But the tío who touches himself in front of you and then no one does anything, well, that's fine, because you made our pain comfortable. You made your pain comfortable for us. That was super resonant. And when that moment happened in the monologue, I was just so grateful for the payoff of that discussion and pointing to that, that positioning. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I was really fed by my trip to El Paso 3 weeks ago, and getting stories of my dad's mom, and just like how the shifting of sympathies, like that I think like that like happens, right? Like when you see like you can see Liberni being really mean, but then you see Latrodes being mean to her, and like and then her daughter also, like, so your sympathies sort of move around just because there are two characters on stage, and so the power shifts of like who you want to feel for, but of just like taking out all the ugly things that like nobody wants to talk about, like both from my family and my partner's family, like just this is being recorded. But it's true, right? Like this is what writers do. Like this is what we do. This is what
hurt people. Writers hurt
they
people.
hurt people. They hurt people. But like, I mean, this is also what gets us killed. You like, and to excavate all of these things, to talk about them, because not talking about them, one, flattens everything, right? Like in the writing of this, I really approached the character that like sung at like the Howdy Modi rally from like this anger point. But then in writing, it was like, oh, right, when you write people, you begin to like, you write a character and you begin to like understand it, or like there's something happens, right? And something just has to happen dramatically, but also just like that monologue of like having to explain yourself all the time. And like, what do you mean in El Paso? Because El Paso is like a Mexican majority city, right? Where you sort of, it's the majority culture, and other cultures get sort of, it's not erased, but it is like you are the odd person out, right?
Yeah, they get pushed to the sides. They get pushed to the periphery, where if you're not Mexican, if you're not, like, truth hurts, like straight up truth hurts. And that's, I love how truthful this is about the relationships of matriarchs and mothers, and like this whole history of we're strong and we're still here because, you know, the matriarchs were like, fuck this, you're gonna do it my way or you're gonna die. And they've sort of passed that down along, but within that, there's no room for anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're trying to bring in other cultures, other perspectives, and I love seeing that, especially in the call center, but like, it's sort of like just, it's this artificial thing that highlights that you can't bring in from the outside. Like it's off to the side because that has no place here, because it doesn't fit in my world domination of how we keep this, how I think, how me as a person, whoever's in that goes, this is how we're gonna keep it alive, because you're gonna do it my way. And so this is how it is. And I think that's a beautiful thing to bring that amount of truth and that amount of light to something that a lot of us don't acknowledge and don't think about. You know, I see it in my family. I see it, you know, in my tías, in my, you know, the way that my abuelas and, you know, my abuelos, the way they all did things. Like that's just the way it was.
Yeah. And we pretend everything's okay.
Yeah. Well, that's the way it is. It's
Yeah.
fine. You know, we've always done it like that. I don't know
Yeah.
what's wrong with you.
Yep. And it's like, Claudia, you put in the chat, like, there's so much vergüenza. And I think that's so, like, it's interesting being here at the end of all three of the first workshops, and just how I feel like the one of the biggest things that carried over from Lorca is this sort of relationship with the appearance and how the family looks from the outside versus how it is on the inside, and vergüenza, and I've seen all of those in all three of these, and it to me is such a big, rich thing to excavate.
I just wanted to also bring up, I put in the chat, I think it was Shame's big border speech when he explodes. That was like, I don't think it's pretty deep to be told that, you know, to be reminded of that.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that speech. I thought it was pretty important, and I hope it doesn't change.
Thank you. Shout out to my partner Samir for being my Bengali Bangladeshi dramaturg.
Cool. Yeah, it's funny, and to me it also reminds me of, like, because I feel like there is sometimes there's bitterness in that kind of a sentiment as well, as like, you think you're, you know, like, well, I know you're in pain, but I'm in pain too, and it's like we are so often pitted against each other. It's so toxic, you know, the like, you don't even know what it's like, you know, you think this is bad, you know, which is just like, yeah, that's real. Yeah, it's very complex, but I was very cool in reading. I was just like, whoa, yeah.
Thank you.
One of the things that sticks with me and is still sticking with me is Angie's speech about the way things are at the border. Like, it's not any different. It's a little bit better under the current administration because I don't have to deal with all the extra bullshit, all the, you know, everybody breathing down our necks, but nothing changed. Like, it's still business as usual.
Yep.
The policies didn't change. People still coming in, you know, that whole idea of, you know, oh, just, you know, slap a coat of paint on it and, you know, things are all better now. And it's so matter of fact, and it's almost in that sort of just throwaway, but not really a throwaway place of just like so off the cuff that I was just like, fuck. Like, yeah, fuck. We're still, it isn't any different. And so like that, and then, you know, Claudia posted about the border speech, and those things are like playing in my head right now. And I'm just like, fuck.
Yeah. Like, I didn't really realize what I was reading because I hadn't seen the full script until she finished saying, you know, we just give them a juice box and they're happy. Like, if she work at a detention facility because her husband is clearly a border or an agent, right? Like, he wrote a book or something, and I'm just like, that's terrible.
He's Francisco Cantu. He's Francisco Cantu.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think one thing I'm like thinking a lot about, because I think I'm just thinking about tranzas. Like, I was like, oh, this is a play about tranzas because actually, like, El Paso is about tranzas. Like, that's actually like the city is just one giant fucking like, it's a scam. Like, it's a giant like I'm thinking about like, first of all, I was like, why the fuck do these people have YouTube channels? And I was like, of course these people have fucking YouTube channels. I'm thinking about, I don't know if you know him or follow him, Victor, but there is a dude named Johnny Cage in El Paso, and he's made like so much money off of doing like lives on Facebook during quarantine, and like I know so many people who do who started off in call centers and then like are now like, I don't know, like weird mid-level like influencers, but not really. But they're all Paso exclusive influencers. And I'm just thinking about like the tranza of that, the tranza of a call center. Like, all call centers are just fucking tranzas. Dying is a fucking tranza. That's what a detention center is, right? Like, that's like a border is set up there to like establish nation states, sure, but also to make money. Like, it's like, yeah, and it's that todo es tranza. And so like, yeah, I'm thinking a lot about like tranzas, transactions, fucking I mean, also like Bernie having that moment where she scares someone into paying by being like, "Oh, did you know you were breaking the law? Did you know? Oh, did you know that's fraud? Did you know that you were doing a thing?" Yeah. And then like one other thing that I kept thinking about that I'm really like, I'm thinking a lot about the description of Choris at the very end when she comes out and she's like bones essentially, like she's just like, I'm thinking a lot about how it is that matriarchs in this family sort of like arrive at that build. This is a very weird thought to have, but I am just thinking about it because like in my family, like when you get old, you become fat. Like you just get fatter. And like when you're at your fattest, you're the matriarch. Like you're cool. Like you're the one. So like you're clad in black and you're just big and fat and you sit down and like that's where you make things happen from your seat. And I'm thinking about like that desire for ice cream and like how it is that Choris is like bones. I don't know. I'm just thinking a lot about like the bodies that brutality like shapes into becoming a matriarch and how different families have different outlines and sketches for what that looks like.
Jesus, it's actually interesting that you say that because what? Sorry.
Just go for it.
It's interesting because my family is kind of the complete opposite, and I don't know if they'll agree, but the matriarchs in my family, they are bones, and they get smaller and smaller and smaller, and their voices get quieter, and they also stop speaking in English more, and the only way that they are able to communicate is through their grandchildren, and mostly through the youngest, because they speak to them in Spanish. And so I have a very distinct memory of my grandma Palomo getting very mad at me, and then me turning to my little sister and being like, what did she say? And her telling me exactly what she said. And it wasn't, I wasn't trying to disrespect, but, I also feel like the older you get, the less respect you kind of have for them because they're old and frail. Even though they're the matriarch, I don't know, I saw that, I related to that, I really liked that. And how Angie sort of treated it and had this holier than thou attitude with putting her mask on. And she's like, I can't hug you, but I have this sorry excuse of a present. I was like, lived it. Okay, you're trying to protect her. Not, I get it, yeah.
In writing, I'm obviously drawing a lot from my like past year of writing Penny Marshall, like just like that kind of scam centered mindset, but like that, like what became a sort of I don't know, what I noticed that like what makes Penny a farce or a comedy is that we never see the victims necessarily, or we don't see like the predation. Right, like people come to her, she's more of a Venus flytrap in this, and like it's the reversal that like feels like the violation, right? Like the going out and initiating I don't know, the hunt, but like that's, I'm curious to see or to hear from like Alton and Jesus in regards to like that, and like if they see any relationship.
I mean, I think like, I don't know, that's one of the things that I was like, oh, this is so ugly. Like getting to hear the other side of it made it much more horrifying because I was like, I actually don't know, oh no. Because I don't know, because otherwise you can just like, this is weird, but I just thought like, what is the worst case scenario of seeing Lily Tomlin doing her like switchboard operator, right? But there's someone on fire on the other side. There's someone whose skin is like burning. And so yeah, I think it's an interesting. Debt is such a weird fucking thing to watch people be scammed into or sort of like drawn into because the way we constantly frame and talk about debt is always like, well, it's the thing that you did that is your fault, right? Like it's it actually like is a thing that in its sort of architecture tries to eviscerate sympathy, right? Like the whole point is like, no, actually, like this is it's your fault. Like you did the shit. When I told my parents I was gonna go back to school, they were like, más drogas?
Right.
First word. And so, yeah, I'm just like, you know, you brought up earlier that idea about sympathy switching inside of these sort of like possession flashback moments. And I'm thinking about what, as someone who's gone out to drink with people who work at call centers, I'm thinking a lot about like, yeah, those moments where like, or where I just like hooked up with someone who just like then spends like the 30 minutes telling me about how much they fucking hate their job. And also like they'll have those moments where they're like, yeah, like it's really sad sometimes. And they'll always try to narrate like a small bit of like, but I try to help people, you know, like that's why I work there. Because I, you know, like at least me, like I'm a good person working inside of this thing, which just reminded me of the fucking, of the detention center thing, like that Angie does, right? Like there was people at the Briar, the time I was fucking at the Briar Patch when I yelled at those two people who were like, we work at a camp. And I was like, what do you mean? Like a summer camp? And they're like a, you know, and the narration, like they referred to them as their kids. They were like, oh, like they're our kids and we care about them and da 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 da.
Like if it's a daycare and it's not.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I think I went through this. It was so fucking desmadre.
And for like droga, I forgot that droga, besides being drug, is also debt in Spanish. Like endrogarse, to drug yourself is to indebt yourself.
I used to, this is gonna be real quick. I used to work at a call center and it was just like a contract job when it was just like, if you would make it, they would full-time hire you. And I didn't have a job, so I took it. And I didn't get hired on because I would actually help people. Like I would be like, oh, I know where you can call, or I know this is what you can do instead. And, you know, and they would train, like they train you to know who to not help. And they trained you to send them to a different phone. And I'm glad this has been recorded because it's the truth. Like it was a bad place to work and it was really shitty. And I didn't understand how I had done anything wrong by actually helping people. And yeah, like I had a manager and she was like, yeah, well, like, just give them this phone number, you know, and then they'll help them there. I'm like, no, like it's not. Like I'm a single mom at this point. Like I know that this phone number, it was like the same, like it was like a run around, like this is what all like, and this was like old people that didn't have any like money to pay a cell phone, like they could barely get by, or the people that live really far away, they had to like somehow find transportation to go to the nearest clinic, not even a hospital, but just a clinic. And it's just like, how can the state not be able to do that, not help them? And it was, yeah.
It does take a bit of sociopath to be able to rationalize yourself from being abusive and to hide under, you know, your title, hide under your position, hide under your own intentions for financial security and leveling up in whatever, you know, status you can climb. And it's pretty interesting seeing all of that play out in this. And I start to think of like the Scientology documentaries, the Keith Raniere's, like how they undermined the reality of their people. And then they're just like absorbed in, and they think they really do believe that they're out there trying to change the world. And it's pretty scary to really like explore that psychology. And I'm really excited about like what the dramaturg, like when, if this is pulled out and how it's like going to play out, you know, all that is really exciting to see as an actor. And two, I was just struck, it just dawned on me, the magnitude with all the, like over 500,000 people that died this year. And to think about the debt collection, like that just hit me. So I hope whatever, you know, like just that really just dawned on me just a few minutes ago. So I just wanted to bring that up. It's going to be, to think of that as horror. Now it's horror to think of that.
And so the debt thing for like all these people that died of COVID and like they were hospitalized, a lot of them like weren't supposed to be charged at all because of like the COVID Act, but hospitals are doing it anyway. And like insurances are doing it anyway. And they're all getting that runaround. The runaround of like, oh no, you not have to get your insurance to code this as COVID. You have to call the hospital to code it as COVID, because otherwise then you're gonna be like, how do we know it's COVID? So like all that. And I wanted to ask about what kind of like, what were you trained? What kind of people were you trained not to help? Like what was that? Who were those people?
It was the people that, it was the older folks that would receive Social Security income, and then I'm not even gonna name this right because I don't remember, but there's a lot of benefits that people around a certain age, or if you have health problems, you can receive, and you can also get your SSI, and you can also get your retirement if you have anything. But what a lot of people that I remember listening to, their problem was that none of that was enough to pay for their medication. And they still needed more, and they still needed something, and they still needed to pay for visits, and they couldn't do an out of pocket. And there are a lot of programs that help people that if they can't work for whatever reason, you can at least get maybe your insulin, right? You don't have to pay out of pocket or anything, and that's called something else. And then if you did work at some point, like for immigrants, right? Like that could work for immigrants, like a certain program. But if you did work throughout your life, then you should get benefits, and that should be enough for your medication. That should be enough for you to go to the doctor and get like your basic health checkups. And a lot of these people, like that was not enough, and they needed I don't know, it was just a bunch of stuff that I remember. Like, or the phrase that they used when they trained us was, "These are double dippers, and they don't get that." And I was just like, okay, like it was horrible.
Oh fuck. Yeah. Writing that down, double dippers. Wow. Can I ask a question? Like, do people have questions about like what they saw and what they just like that kind of moment in the call and response, reverse Liz Lerman technique that we're doing here?
I had a question, but it's kind of like I'm now starting to see characters from the other plays in your play and vice versa. Is that something you were thinking about when you were writing? And are you thinking about it now?
Like all my other plays or the other plays in
our trilogy. Like when you were working on this, were you, because I picked up on some elements from the other two plays, so I was just curious, like, is that, that you were at the front of your mind?
Not consciously, no. Yeah, no, not consciously. But I we're all writing from Lorca, right? So like I think like he has a lot of the same characters throughout, like, and it's like the same. I think like the hyper locality of us, like it happens in El Paso, so we share that geography, and it's like really nice. It's really nice to not explain things, but also to be explaining things through the characters, and to make it I don't know. I wrote without, I just wrote without caring who understood. Other questions or comments?
I have a question. Love to hear the way that you are envisioning just sort of how this is going to look. Because I feel like, you know, with these like rapid transitions, it's like it could lend itself to sort of an abstract thing, or it could be potentially jarring to have like literal things and then, you know, these quick switches from one to the other. Do you have a notion in your head of how it's going to look?
I just thought like we start sort of like in that sparse space of the hospital room, and then like it just becomes a call center and it stays the call center. Like that's, and the call center has an open plan. I think that's what I thought. But yeah, like the way that what I meant to say earlier too was like I just approached this as a workplace sitcom. And it's because for part of my research, I was watching Heil Honey, I'm Home, which takes Hitler and his domestic life as a sort of domestic I Love Lucy comedy. It only lasted one episode. And people were offended. But it was a way of like it's fun. Like, so that show, in making fun of Hitler, was like also like taking, you know, like demystifying him, like, you know, just like deconstructing him, like was really like, it was mocking him, right? Like it was satire and it was mocking him. But it was also about the way that sitcoms, just because of their structure, can make a character likable and can make a character empathizable. And like that was the critique of, I think like that was like the bigger critique, because it was making fun of sitcoms, just as much as it was like tackling the Third Reich, because like Hitler like lives in an apartment building and his neighbors are he has Jewish neighbors, and like he has this like running fight with them, but it also invites him over to dinner when oh my god, who comes over? One of the, like, I think like some prime minister comes over, I forget who, Chamberlain, I think comes over for dinner, and it's just like it's that was on my mind as like I approached this as a workplace just like shifting it to a workplace comedy.
I could see that. It's like, oh, so, you know, how many people did you arrest today? How many people did you kill? Oh, it was horrible, you know, talking about that. I mean, even though it was really horrible, it's horrible to do that. I mean, it's like, these are still people that, like Claudia said in the chat, it's like, you think what you're doing is right, and you talk to others that also think that what they're doing is right. And so that way you believe like, oh no, it's fine, like this is supposed to happen. That's your way of rationalizing things. That's
So I can go to bed at night. Will the characters face karma?
I don't. So like,
woman who works at the call center. Karma's the manager. She's Karma's the regional manager.
No, everyone's gonna get promoted. No, there was this I don't, right now it was a stupid impulse earlier to want the play gimmicky, to want the play, obviously the play's not over, but like the play to end in a way where you wouldn't know if it was beginning or ending. So like there would be like purgatory and a loop, where like Adela is both like always killing herself and not killing, or like always about to commit suicide and not, I don't know. But that felt gimmicky. I don't know where it's going, but I want us to leave feeling that we're just as bad as these characters. That like we, because of the way that our economy is structured, because of the way social media is structured and the way we participate in it, it's sort of like we to some degree are are part of the machine.
I will also say that a moment that I really loved and I'm interested in. I don't know if I have a specific question saying like I like that and I want, and it gave me a lot was finding out that like the origin of Adela's name, and that it's short for Adelante. You know, I love that.
I'm gonna confess this. So when I did the find and replace, because like I didn't have time to edit the script in format it in the way that I want, so I did find and replace.
That was an accident.
That was an accident, but
it's a beautiful accident that I loved so much. That's hilarious.
I also thought that's what it meant. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I totally thought it was like a like, oh, this is an indication. This is where like, well, I think because to me, I think that I think the reason why I liked it so much, you know, when the computer gods are on your side in that way, is that like, is that there's that Adelante in particular, like I remember back in the 90s, you know, like it was like I remember like seeing the like the bumper sticker that said Adelante con Clinton for the election of Bill Clinton, and like how Adelante as this idea of you know the movement going forward, and of like we're gonna like of like it just like bettering yourself, and of like of all these things about like that and to me like the fact that it's like adelante con Clinton, like that Clinton goes on to sign NAFTA, and just like all these, you know, the ways in which you have this idea of move yourself forward and it doesn't matter what happens to the people behind you, you know, and it's not and like if you are moving forward, like how do you know? Well, you know, because other people aren't, you know, and so there's something to, I think that's I would love for that happy accident to like be part of like that exploration of fascism, and of like how like you go from neoliberalism into fascism, you know, that kind of, and that sort of, and I think particularly the questions of what you're saying of how do you rationalize putting yourself in front of everyone else, and like how does victim, like saying, well, I'm the victim, or saying like, well, if I don't do it, somebody else will, so I might as well do it and make the money. I think are such big things. So I say enjoy that accident.
I will. The other accident that happened was I named the daughter Angie before I remembered that the oldest daughter in Bernarda Alba, who like gets all the money, and her name's Angustias, and it just like it was one of those like magic things, because like I had no idea, or I obviously I just didn't remember. Yeah. Other thoughts, questions, complaints?
You asked earlier about thinking about this play in relation to Penny Marshall, and I guess in thinking about it, I think the difference that I see is Penny Marshall, like while she is a Venus flytrap that attracts, I feel like at least we haven't seen anyone be hurt from her. If anything, all these characters in that world continue to like fail up, and like even while they plunge into debt, their social status continues to grow. And I think about Penny Marshall in like a maximalism kind of spectacle, whereas I think this call center is kind of like this kind of like minimalist thing, where it's like these ghosts of voices that are reaching out to grab souls. I do think there is a sort of ruthlessness in the idea that you have these people like casually hitting up the most vulnerable people and getting like and really putting them in a place without, you know, these people who probably don't know any better or like don't have the information. Whereas, yeah, the difference with like Penny is like people are coming to her for help and accidentally succeeding. I think about how this play, how Penny Marshall is very like, I think it has an eye towards the future. It's always like, while it talks about the past, it's always thinking about like a reinvention, like a move towards like the new social media outlet. Like we look into the future, we see how like the world changes in front of us. Where I think this play really like in a cyclical nature lives in the past and talk and like how violence is inherited, like how trauma is inherited from old countries into new countries, from like generations and generations, like very similar to how debt is inherited. Yeah, scams are cool.
I love that, like cyclical country, like countries, old countries, new countries, debt, just like debt is cyclical, and is inherited.
Yeah, I love that line that's like, we hold power over the dead, you know? That's such a great line. But yeah, ruthless. Whereas I think like Penny is like more of a clown, like more of like a idiot savant, if anything. Like I think you never see her actively trying to harm anyone, you know? Maybe I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt, Jesus.
Well, no, I also think like who's getting scammed. Like, this is why I'm saying like I do think like debt is actually such a fucking weird thing to think about and touch and treat, because like there are some forms of debts and scams that you're like, this is juicy, how fun, this is cute, and it's still violent. Like at the end of the day, like you're still you're still trafficking money in this country, like in a place built by horror, right? In a place that will never resolve its multiple debts because it needs to sort of like accrue its bloat. Like I think there's something about like Penny and that universe that feels exciting, honestly, like because of its nearness to celebrity. Like I think there's something hot about watching celebrity like financially like ruin itself or struggle, or beyond that, people who want to be celebrity, like people who aspire to celebrity, right? Like there's something about this sort of interesting like punishment of the OnlyFanner in that world to some respect. Whereas I think here, and you know, it's interesting to think about minimalism and maximalism often, just because I'm like, I don't know, there's a world in which like I see the people at the call center, because to work at a call center in El Paso, you have to go buy clothes first. Like you have to go look, you have to look good, but like how that's defined in El Paso is all dependent on what Ross you go to. And so like, because like I literally went with my sister to shop for her when she worked at her first call center, and like, and it's just such an interesting thing to think about, like how you said at the beginning of the reading, Victor, to have people think about class, and it's like, yeah, like if you live in El Paso, like that's the thing you're actually constantly talking and thinking and living around, and you don't say it because it's just a given. And I'm wondering and thinking a lot about like how the reason very few sitcoms are set in like working class homes, like actually legitimately working class homes, is because it makes all the horrifying shit so much sharper. Like you're like, oh, this is, oh no, poverty, that's and so like I don't know, that there's something to this, and thinking that like what is the most like visually bloated like sitcom-y version of this that also makes those horrifying moments so much more disgusting, because we're like moving on, because that's actually what it is, right? Like you hang up, you end your shift, you finish doing what you're doing, and then you go get shit-faced at Mulligan's on the Torino, And you know, I don't know. I'm thinking a lot about about how class is actually doing a lot of the work of buffering damage, even though like it's still violence, like it's still economic violence to some respect.
Yeah. The other, I read an article, like maybe I forget when, but like that looked at Trump's rise and Trump's motivation specifically through debt. And like specifically like his debts to banks that are like soon coming to collect their money. And as that being a motivation for him to have power. But there's also this other book called Debt, the First 5,000 Years that I think everyone should read. And it just like talks about like what debt did to some of the conquistadors and like the colonizers, like that because they had debts and they were rewarded by their barbarism, like it just increased everything, like it increased their violence. And it's like that owing increases desperation.
And it also helps to structure, I don't know, like at least thinking about that, like I'm thinking a lot about how debt actually helped to structure the castas in Mexico, right? Like some of those sort of like casta alignments, like specific, I'm thinking about like people who got to be designated like peninsulares, right? Like how so much of that was actually broken down by debt specifically, like and yeah.
Anything else? Well, y'all, thank you for awesome reading. We all we're gonna so for folks who are watching, thank you so much also for tuning in, and stay tuned because in June we will be presenting full readings of these pieces that we will be recording and then streaming via Text Performing Arts and Fusebox. We again want to thank again for giving us the chance to do all this and pay people for it. Yay, paying people for it. And so thank you all so much, and y'all. So we're gonna say goodbye, and we're gonna turn our cameras off, and then we're gonna come back on once we get it all clear. So if you're watching this and suddenly like you hear us in silence and darkness saying random things, that's what's happening. All right, bye y'all.
I am indebted to everybody.
Yay, you're good.
Awesome. Next, come on back, y'all. Actors and Melissa, you all have gotten an email from me just now that tells you how to get paid. Yay, getting paid. You'll have to do an invoice and fill out a W-9 for it. And then we'll be contacting y'all about further opportunities soon enough, hopefully. All right, so I'm gonna ask Jesus, Krysta, and Victor, can you all stay on for a couple more minutes to check on some things? But actors, thank you